Well, good afternoon, everyone, and happy Thursday. It is digital host A.J. Wuest welcoming you back to Before the Four, the live stream where I take you all through some of 48's top news stories and then some before our 4 o'clock newscast. Wherever you're watching Before the Four today, whether it is on Facebook, YouTube, or the 48 Now live stream, as always, thank you so much for watching and spending just a little bit of your Thursday afternoon here. Now, starting things off in a bit of national news, last night an American Airlines jet collided with a Black Hawk helicopter, causing both aircrafts to crash over the Potomac River in Washington, D.C. NBC senior correspondent Tom Costello, who covers aviation, with the details.
A horrific tragedy in the skies over Washington, D.C.
This is Alert 3.
An Army Black Hawk helicopter colliding with an American Airlines regional jet midair.
It was probably out in the middle of the river. I just saw a fireball and then it was just gone.
We are now at a point where we are switching from a rescue operation to a recovery operation. At this point, we don't believe there are any survivors.
The American Eagle flight, carrying 60 passengers and 4 crew members, was coming from Wichita, Kansas into D.C. It was just seconds from landing at Reagan National Airport just before 9 last night when the collision happened. Both aircraft plunging into the Potomac River. On board the flight from Wichita, several young athletes with the United States figure skating team, along with coaches. A military official tells NBC News there were 3 crew members on board the Black Hawk chopper that had been participating in a routine training flight.
And at this time, we don't know why the military aircraft came into the path of the PSA aircraft.
Audio from the air traffic control tower provided the first clues at what may have happened right before the disaster.
Pass 25, zero J in flight.
Controllers asking the chopper pilot if he sees the passenger jet and directing him to pass behind it.
Pass 25, pass behind it, zero J.
Those watching then reacted.
American 472, Washington, 1 star, 32017.
Authorities say the plane broke into 2 pieces upon impact in the river, while the helicopter was upside down in the water.
If you live in the D.C. area, you would know that this was a clear night last night. The helicopter was in a standard pattern. This flight pattern is seen oftentimes when you live in D.C. This was a standard flight pattern last night as well.
The main runway at Reagan National, Runway 1, is the nation's busiest, with more than 800 daily takeoffs and landings. The direct flight from Wichita to DCA coming into Runway 33 had only been operating for a year. More than 300 first responders working through the night, pulling remains from the river.
Do I think this was preventable? Absolutely.
Well, thank you, Tom. And now in Decatur, where today 48's Callie Neese spoke in a one-on-one interview to Decatur Police Chief Todd Pinion, who's under a bit of fire right now in the Decatur community since the third-party review of its police department came to light. I spoke with Callie earlier today, and take a listen to what Chief Pinion had to say. The third-party review of the Decatur Police Department was released last week, and 48's Callie Neese has been following up on that review. Earlier this week, she spoke with City Councilman Hunter Pepper for his thoughts on Police Chief Todd Pinion, and today she sat down for a one-on-one interview with Chief Pinion himself. Callie, there has certainly been a lot of chatter around Chief Pinion and the Decatur Police Department since the third-party review. And honestly, for the last few years, just recap a bit of what Chief Pinion told you today in the sit-down interview.
AJ, the biggest thing that he told me today is that he does not plan on resigning. He told me he took an oath to serve and protect this community, and he plans on continuing doing that. I also asked about a lot of the things that were in the review that needed to be changed, like the way they file their complaints and more training for the officers. He told me that they have already addressed how they file their complaints and that training for the officers is always welcome and the officers will always take more training. He said he plans on making a ton of improvements and some of those are already in the works.
Many in Decatur are calling for his resignation after the report was released. How much of the report itself, what's written in the report, did he mention today?
We did a full in-depth in-depth dive on a lot of different topics within this review, one of them being the way complaints are filed, another being disorderly conduct arrests. And he mentioned to me about how these are going to be changed, updates that he wants to make, and some updates that he has already made, as well as what his initial thoughts were of the review. And he said overall, he thinks he has a good department, and the men and women that work for him do a great job protecting this city, but there are a lot of improvements that need to be made.
Right. And you mentioned those improvements. Did Chief Pinion mention anything about the ways the Decatur Police Department can grow back stronger and really gain back the trust of some of its citizens?
One of the biggest things Pinion told me about is he wants to increase communication. He said at last week's press conference he felt confident and strong going out there, being able to give his initial thoughts on the review, and now he plans on getting out in front of the camera a little bit more, talking to the public a lot more about what's going on within the department, and I think that will help build the community around the department a little bit better.
Absolutely. Communication is key. Well, Callie, thank you so much for joining. I greatly appreciate it. And stick around for our evening newscast to hear more on this situation from 48's Callie Neese coming up. But now, time for a look at the latest Huntsville area Crime Stoppers for the week. Let's see who 48's Gina Benitez and Huntsville Police need your help stopping in our community.
This week, police say they are looking for a pair of truck thieves that stole not one, not two, but 3 different pickups in a short period of time. Police say on January 1st, these two went to a business on 9th Avenue, stole a Chevy Silverado, and then drove that truck into a gate. Cops say they abandoned the truck, went into the gated area, and stole another truck and rammed it into another fence. But according to authorities, they weren't done. Police say they then stole a Ford E250 and drove off. If you know who they are, call police. And just a few days ago, on January 24th, police say a man driving this truck pulled onto a property on Moores Mill Road, got into the fenced-in area, and stole stuff from multiple cars. Police say he came back the very next day and did the very same thing. They don't know who he is, but if you recognize the truck and know who was driving it, HPD wants to hear from you. James Tate Jr. is back on police's radar. He is still wanted for failing to register as a sex offender. Police say Milani Farmer took her former roommate's debit card and charged $600 to it. She's charged with fraudulent use of a credit or debit card. Jerron Townsend is accused of having a gun on him. Problem is, he's not supposed to. He's wanted because he is a person forbidden to possess a firearm. Police say Paul Allen is wanted for fentanyl possession. And investigators tell us Simonetta Colvin walked into the lens store at Parkway Place Mall and stole $2,700 worth of glasses. She's charged with retail theft. It's easy to earn up to $1,000. If you have any information that can help police, just call 256-53-CRIME or scan that QR code on your screen. For more information, visit the Crime Stoppers link on our website, WAFF.com.
Well, thank you, Gina. And now a story in case you missed it from 48's Nick Ballinger. Alabama state superintendents are offering advice for school officials in the event ICE officers show up at their schools. Nick Ballinger with the details.
A heads up sent to all superintendents in the state offering some direction to school leaders if arrests of undocumented individuals were ever to impact Alabama schools. This memo from Dr. Eric Mackey says no schools have dealt with disruptions, but goes on to say, quote, after verifying identity, badged law enforcement should always be welcomed onto our campuses, end quote.
Just because somebody shows up at the school with a badge doesn't mean they have a right to access the entire facility or the people that are in there. You know, schools have a duty to those children to protect their information.
This comes after President Trump signed an executive order removing restrictions on ICE agents from entering schools and churches. Immigration attorney Kimberly Fasking says she fears ICE raids could violate a student's rights. An exception does allow officers to conduct a raid only if they have a warrant from a judge. Despite this, Fasking still has worries.
It's not so much because that ICE will go out and do that regularly, but because that makes people fearful to take their children to school.
She's seen the fear herself from her clients.
We've had clients who've said, you know, I'm scared to take my children to school. Should I keep them home? And I tell them absolutely not. Do not keep your children home. You don't want them to be scared. You don't want their lives to be disrupted.
Dr. Mackey is echoing that note, saying, quote, parents should be encouraged to send children to school, ever mindful of the importance of school attendance on academic and social development, end quote.
Well, thank you, Nick. And yesterday we also learned that a deputy with the Madison County Sheriff's Office was assaulted and the suspect was taken into custody. 48's Callie Neese with the latest on the assault.
Madison County Sheriff's Office officials say all of this occurred while a deputy was trying to make a traffic stop. Around noon today, a Madison County Sheriff's deputy was attempting to complete a traffic stop. The man stopped by the deputy had outstanding felony warrants out of Coleman County. When the deputy attempted to make the arrest, the man resisted, assaulted the deputy, and ran away. Brent Patterson from the Madison County Sheriff's Office said that's when Huntsville police came to assist. Officers were able to catch the man not far from the scene. This is their suspect, 35-year-old Robbie Lee Fowler. He is now facing charges of assault in the second degree. Brent Patterson said that the deputy was transported to the hospital but is expected to be fine.
But unfortunately, this is just part of the job for law enforcement.
He adds that sometimes this job can be difficult and deputies always have to be prepared.
Every single day you go to work, anytime we put this uniform on, you've got to be prepared. And based on this deputy's actions, he was prepared. Unfortunately, he was assaulted by this individual, and he'll be arrested and charged accordingly.
Patterson says this demonstrates great teamwork between HPD and the Sheriff's Office. Reporting in Huntsville, Callie Neese, 48 News, on your side.
Thank you, Callie. And now in the Shoals, where over 80 dogs were recently seized from a Lauderdale County home. 48's Aria Pons with more.
82 dogs shoved into kennels with barely enough space, kennels stacked on top of each other in a shed, and dogs relieving themselves on top of other dogs. That's what Lauderdale County investigators say they encountered when they looked into a reported puppy mill out on County Road 6.
For dogs in our building, we're probably close to 200 with the 82 that we took in.
Director of Florence Lauderdale Animal Services Cheryl Jones says animal control has been out to this house before and gave the owner a chance to fix the living conditions before getting deputies involved. However, she says the owner didn't, leading deputies to execute a search warrant and remove the dogs from what they call terrible conditions.
I think it's one of the worst as far as the condition that the animals were living in.
It was just the wire, so it didn't have like a crate container on the bottom. And so the dogs above them were peeing and pooping on top of the dogs below them.
As of right now, most of the dogs are still being checked out by veterinarians. Lauderdale County investigator Macy Hughes says when she peeked into the window of the shed on County Road 6 where these animals were being kept, she saw kennels stacked on top of one another, each with too many dogs inside.
It was so loud. Every dog in that room was barking. And of course the smell, I had to step out within probably about 2 seconds of being in there. My eyes was burning so bad from the urine.
Hughes says charges are still pending against the owner, and while they are still trying to track the owner down, they say they do know who it is. Reporting in Florence, Aria Pons, 48 on your side.
Well, thank you, Aria. And now let's talk about those math scores across Alabama schools. Alabama was the only state, that's right, the only state in the entire nation to see an increase in those scores. 48's Noah Cowell solves the equation as to why.
In 2019, Alabama ranked dead last in the country, 52nd in fourth grade math standardized test scores. But fast forward 5 years and they've jumped 20 spots. The secret? A big change in their approach to teaching. State Senator Arthur Orr credits the statewide increase in part to the 2022 Numeracy Act he sponsored, which removed old math standards and developed new teaching strategies.
If we can have our children know these bedrock foundational subject areas and know them very well and proficiently, it will pay dividends throughout the rest of their lives.
One school, Danville Neal Elementary, took these changes to heart. Principal Tara Morrow says her school is near the top in Alabama in biggest improvements on standardized testing. Morrow says her staff has embraced the new ways, going away from textbook learning and addressing each person's specific areas to improve.
It's not just here it is. here it is for 20 kids in your classroom, and they know that there's a different need for each one of them, and that's what it's all about. If you're teaching the same way to all 20, you probably just need to go to the house, because that does not work anymore. I mean, there's so many different individual needs. You have to embrace them all.
Senator Orr says they have provided schools throughout Alabama a total of hundreds of math coaches for professional instruction. And despite not even having a coach yet, Principal Morrow says that she, a few teachers, and 20 of the Danville Neal students will be congratulated at the State of the State address on Tuesday. Reporting in Morgan County, Noah Cowell, 48 News, on your side.
Pretty awesome. You'd love to see it. Thank you so much, Noah. And now coming up after the break, we'll talk about some fun things you can do in the Huntsville area this weekend, something you can do tonight if you're looking for a last-minute idea, and an awesome story you're just not going to want to miss. It's all ahead. I'll see you all in 1 minute. Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to Before the Four. If you're looking to see an awesome show this weekend in Huntsville filled with trick shots, trick passes, and phenomenal handles on the basketball court, the Harlem Globetrotters are here for you. They are coming to the VBC this Sunday, and today I got to speak with one Globetrotter player. They call him Hot Rod. Take a listen to what he had to say about performing at the Von Braun Center.
I remember, that the Von Braun Center was one of the first places in my rookie year that I went to, and I remember going out there and just filling the arena up. Just saw every seat full, and seeing all the kids coming up to me asking me, "Hey, how tall are you? Did you play in college? How did you get to be a Harlem Globetrotter? You're amazing, Hot Rod. Like, where? I saw you on TV. I saw you on YouTube." And I tell the kids, "Hey, you saw me, and now I'm here with me." And then Lord knows when you're gonna see me next. And I have kids always asking me, "What can I do to be a Harlem Globetrotter? What can I do to be a basketball player?" And I just tell them, work hard. And I tell them, if I did it, you definitely could do it. You just gotta chase your dreams.
That is right. And that leads into my next question for any of the kids out there watching who would love to become a Globetrotter one day. What's some advice you'd give to them?
I'll just tell them, work hard, work extremely hard. Stay in school, stay positive. Make sure you have that positive mindset. Listen to your parents, because your parents always are going to want to guide you in the right direction. But if you really, really want to be a good basketball player, just work extremely hard and stay positive. I can't tell you how many times growing up, there was people that was telling me, "Oh, you're not good enough, or you're too tall, or you're not fast enough." But if I would have listened to those people, I would have got discouraged and put the ball down. But I didn't. I kept working hard, and I was being positive each and every day.
Some awesome advice there, and an awesome interview with Hot Rod today. You can watch that full 48 Now interview with him on our website right now. Just go to WAFF.com. But another thing going on this Saturday at the Huntsville Botanical Garden, Jazzed Up February. That is right, it is a Mardi Gras celebration for the books. Take a listen to a little of what Laura McPhail had to say about Jazzed Up February.
Last year we had Jazzed Up February, and it was tapas and wine pairings. And this year we saw that, the timing was pretty close to when Mardi Gras is actually happening. And so we wanted to, capitalize on that. We got a lot of people from around here who either go to Mardi Gras, have been to Mardi Gras, are from Mobile or New Orleans or anywhere along the coast in between, and really enjoy that festive atmosphere. So we wanted to bring it here to Huntsville.
That's right, absolutely. And I'm glad you mentioned Mobile. Now that is something I have learned within the past year of moving here to Alabama, that New Orleans is a very like they celebrate Mardi Gras. They go hard for Mardi Gras, but I've learned that the original Mardi Gras celebration was in Mobile, Alabama. Can you take me through a little bit of the history?
Right. Well, Mobile is, actually is older than New Orleans, and so celebrating Mardi Gras there, that was where it first came to, what is now the United States. And so, while it's not as known in some areas, it is here for being a great place for celebrating Mardi Gras. I think New Orleans is more widely known. It's a bigger city and has some different flavors to it, but Mobile puts on a big party just as well. So
that's right. Here in the Yellowhammer, you got. That is awesome. And finally, going on tonight, country star Nico Moon is blasting off to bring the vacation to the Rocket City. Last week, I spoke with him as he previewed tonight's concert. Take a listen.
And every night when I'm on stage and I look out and everybody's singing with me and we're just having this moment of human connection with each other, it just fills my heart up with love, And outside of my family, my musical community, my musical family, we call us the good timers, they're the most important thing to me. So every night getting to celebrate life with them together is such an honor. Man, thank you for the love. I can't wait to get down to Huntsville, go on vacation at the show with everybody. And if anybody's got any Hawaiian shirts laying in the closet, wear it to the show, yo. I'll be in mine. Let's go.
Just trying to catch a good time. That is right. Nico Moon tonight at the Von Braun Center. You're just not going to want to miss it. That is for sure. But awesome stuff. Now today on the good side, a middle school student stepped up to fill in when he noticed some school staff members were out sick. WABI's Sierra Whaley introduces us to the teen lending a helping hand.
When students arrive at Hancock Grammar School, they're met with fulfilling smiles and words of encouragement. Let's just say helping others is what they do.
Camden actually, the day before, there was a basketball game, and he had said, "Hey, Mr. Gray, I noticed there's some dirt. Can I sweep?"
I thought it was going to be easy, because just sweeping and mopping and cleaning, but it's not that easy. So on the day after, when there wasn't any janitors, I asked Mr. Gray if I could help out more.
The 8th grade student noticed 2 custodians were out due to illness. He texted his mom to see if he could stay after school to help out and fill that void. His reasoning is simple.
Because you don't know what's going on with someone else.
It wasn't surprising because that's just what he does.
Heather is Camden's mom. She says her son has always been eager to help others. However, she's more than proud to see his level of kindness and awareness impacting the community.
I keep seeing people saying oh, it's the parenting, it's because of the parenting, but he just, since the time he was little, he's just been an amazing kid, and I'm thankful for that.
Every year, the school gives students and staff a word to thrive upon. This year, it's grit.
Even if it takes rolling up your sleeves and doing custodial work, that's what it takes. And I think Cam's actions really represent grit. So I want to say to Camden, thank you so much. And Heather, thank you for raising such a good young man.
How sweet. Such an awesome story there. And those are the types of stories I would describe as the ones that you're just not going to want to miss. And speaking of the stories you're just not going to want to miss, let's head into them. The water quality in the town of Eider. 48 Savannah Sapp will have more details on that coming up. Another story you're just not going to want to miss. More on the Good Dad Act. And finally, more details on a concert where proceeds benefit the California wildfire victims. These are just a few of the stories you're just not going to want to miss coming up in our evening newscasts. And it is that time, y'all. It is time for Facebook fun. That is right. Our 48 Facebook question of the day. What was the best vacation you've ever been on? And let me tell you, I've been to quite a few awesome vacations. I've been to Hawaii. I vacationed in Mexico one time, but I think I want to say Hawaii is definitely up there. But what I want to know is what you all had to say, and you all had some really awesome comments. That is for sure. Let's see. Tia said Jamaica last year for my birthday. That is awesome. I have never been to Jamaica, but I definitely want to make my way out there pretty soon. It just seems like an awesome place to kick it. That is for sure. And the awesome food there. I was speaking with my coworker earlier today about the incredible food that's out there in Jamaica. But that is awesome. Tia, thank you so much for commenting. Let's see. Sherry said Egypt, King Tut, Valley of the Kings, the Nile, and lots more. And this actually reminds me, my mother is going out there to Egypt in a few months. And we were talking last night about Egypt and everything she's excited to see there. So that is awesome. It sounds like that was an incredible trip. That is for sure. Sherry, thank you so much for commenting. And then Riley said, 2 years ago, my mother and I did a 2-week cross-country road trip, drove all the way up to South Dakota and all the way to Moab, Monument Valley, and Las Vegas. Ended our trip in New Orleans. Of course, that's the place to end it before coming home. It was amazing. Sounds like an incredible road trip, but that is incredible. I love road trips, and I think I would love to do like a Route 66 road trip. Like, I've been to the ends of Route 66. I've been to Santa Monica, California. I've been to Chicago, Illinois. Took my picture next to both ends of Route 66. So I think that would be a pretty awesome road trip as well. But Riley, thank you so much for commenting, and everyone who commented on today's 48 Facebook question of the day. Thank you so much. Greatly appreciate it. It always makes my day seeing what you all have to say. That is for sure. But that is just about all she wrote for today's Before the Four. I want to thank you all for sticking around and spending a bit of your Thursday afternoon here. Enjoy tonight's evening newscast. Have a great night, whatever you do. And as always, thank you so much for watching. You all have a great night.